Sorry, fellas, just adjusting a sound thing. We'll start in just a second. There we go, fellas. How are you? Welcome to the Monday episode of this right here, which we call the Chappy Stream. Now, if you are here, excuse me, looking for video game news, we do that too. We do that on the show called Gabbin' and Games. Lately, there hasn't been a lot to discuss, at least not a lot that's interested me. I've been playing a lot of video games. I've been playing a lot of a game called Hytale, which is kind of a next-gen version-ish of Minecraft, made by the guys who had the most successful Minecraft server, at least from what I understand, of all time. Never been a big Minecraft guy, but it's really, really fun. So we'll get to some video game news. We obviously have an Xbox showcase coming up this weekend, or developer direct, whatever they call it. We'll be talking about that. But for today, we're going to hang out in the realm of news and politics. I'm going to try not to get all that terribly passionate, I suppose, about all this, because what's the point, right? I'm going to try to enter these discussions with you guys today with an open enough mind that I can be willing to change my views and learn something. But you know how this goes. You never know. If you want to call in and be part of the conversation, that's really not a problem, pal. You can do that by clicking on the pinned tab at the top of the YouTube channel there, if you're watching over on the YouTube, and call in with or without camera, and let's talk about what your take is on some of these topics that we're going to go through today. I will say, and this is not a sponsored stream, but before we no, we're not making a goal for the second Evil Dead tonight. We are doing, well, maybe. Fuck it, I don't care. All right. We are doing Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness over in the Discord tonight at 7:45. So sure, if we want to run this the Evil Dead remake or Evil Dead Rise, whatever it's called, if we get $200 in super chats on this very episode, we'll do a double feature tonight. I will say, though, it's not a sponsored stream, but I do want to turn you on to something really cool that we did this weekend just because I think it's neat. This is, and again, your mileage is going to vary. But if you like the jigsaw puzzles like I do, I love jigsaw puzzles. I'm a big fan. I like doing them with the family. It's a good way to hang out and connect and listen to music. There's this company that came out, Kickstarter, about 5-6 years ago. I just discovered it. They're in their 5th series of puzzles. They're called the Magic Puzzle Company. And the puzzle pieces, I swear, trust me, I'd take money from these guys. I would be a sponsor for these guys, but I'm just telling you because I think it's cool. Just like I watched the Star Trek Starfleet over the weekend, and honestly, I thought that was cool too. But the pieces are fun, the puzzles are fun, really cool artwork, lots of interesting like Where's Waldo storytelling in these little tiny pieces. And then when you put it all together, it gives you the ability to then, and we haven't finished the first puzzle yet, but you open this other envelope that says only open this after you've solved the puzzle. And once you've solved the puzzle, I don't know what happens. It says it does a magic trick or some such shit. I couldn't tell you. But this is a lot of fun. We're doing one called, I think, Mystic Maze, which is from series 1 right now. I got to reach out to a wonderful concept artist I've worked with named Andrea Daly, because she did artwork like this when we worked together at Bartlett Jones, and they're always looking for new artists. I think she could do just an amazing puzzle design for these guys. But anyway, if you're interested, it's called the Magic Puzzle Company. If you like doing puzzles with your friends and family, check it out. It's good stuff. Okay, let's start with, I want to talk about this case, or a number of cases that are happening right now in Texas about, and I would be curious, because we do have, believe it or not, some religious people that watch this show. I would be curious about their take on this story, where they're trying to get the 10 Commandments to be displayed in schools, because this is what the governor, Greg Abbott, decided X number of months ago or a couple of years ago. And there's a couple cases coming up about, is this okay? Now, I personally thought we were beyond this. I thought we were absolutely beyond this, but we're obviously, this is going to lead into talking about the church service that was interrupted over the weekend, or it was Sunday, by ICE demonstrators, and how apparently, oh my God, can you imagine what an awful thing? I can, like, shooting a lady in the head that, is just trying to get out of the way, or isn't a real threat, or separating, kids from their families, or, yeah, I can think of a lot of things worse than this, but they seem to think this was the worst thing in the world. But here are these trad wives, who I honestly getting to the point where I can't fucking stand them, who are out there. This woman raised a bunch of money to get all these posters printed to be in the schools. The 10 Commandments. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make thyself any graven images. Shut up! Shut the fuck up, you brainwashed moron, is what I would say. That's what I would fucking say. Religion is, in my opinion, something we need to get rid of. Well, we should never get rid of it. It should happen organically if the people want to get rid of it. But church and state, Stephen Johnson says, should be separated. It's not should be. It is separated. These people are breaking the law. This goes against the First fucking Amendment. This is an absolute travesty. It is ridiculous. It is disgusting, and they should really be ashamed of themselves. But regardless, here we are, and I just love I'm going to get to the story, but I love the picture. Like, oh, shut up, you fucking bozo. Just look how stupid she is. Like, oh God, I'm doing this for God. I'm doing this for the kids. Are you really, sweetheart? Are you really? You fucking moron. You fucking moron. Sit the fuck down. Nobody needs you to raise their fucking kids. They just don't. If you want to teach your kids a bunch of this stuff that, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, is silly and nonsensical and dumb and childish, you have that right to do it at home. But don't tell me I'm sending my kid to a public school with the intention of being educated, and your poster starts with, I am the Lord thy God. Even think about this for a minute. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, which indicates, I guess, what? There's a lot of them, but I want to be the best one. What a dick. What a dick. Think about, I've never really spent much time clearly thinking about the 10 Commandments, but think about it for a minute. You have to start, you're the most powerful guy on the planet, in the universe. And you have to start by going, look, I need to make it clear. You're going to encounter these other gods. No. I'm the one, okay? Can we just agree to that at the very beginning? I'm the one. What an egocentric piece of shit, frankly. That's your number one commandment? It's not thou shalt not kill, don't steal things, don't do this, don't do that. It's, hey, number one, I'm the best, okay? Can we all just agree that I'm the best? And then only don't make idols of other that offend me or that are don't take my name in vain. Jesus fucking Christ, you got a fucking small dick much? It's the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever seen in my goddamn life. It's the most ridiculous fucking thing. But anyway, they're having all of this shit about, and to a lot of these teachers' credits, these guys are like, a lot of the teachers in Texas are like, we're not doing this. Or it will post it, but we're also posting the satanic tenets, which are fine tenets, by the way. If you don't know, you won't be surprised to hear satanic tenets that I probably agree with most of them. Here they are. These are also posted in some of the same classrooms. Let's see what it says. Let's see what it says. Oh, it's really small. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. Huh. The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. One's body is inviolable. I don't know what that means. Subject to one's own will alone. You mean you can't violate it. Okay. The freedom of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, to willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forgo your own. This sounds pretty logical to me. But they have Buddhist principles. So some teachers are getting around it that way. Some teachers are getting fired for saying, I'm not doing it. Some teachers are absolutely happily willing to just sort of jump in and do this shit. Some people, though, some of these people in Texas have called it disturbing that some teachers put up other religious posters alongside the Ten Commandments. What do you think it's going to take to get these people to understand this is not a Christian nation? It wasn't designed. And by the way, Wayne B says that's not satanic. That's leftist progressive stuff. Really? Here, let me get one that's not so blurry. What is progressive? I mean, I want you to think about what you just wrote, and I want you to, do 10 Hail Marys and hit yourself with a leather belt or whatever it is you people do. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy towards all creatures in accordance with reason. That's left progressive stuff? Really? The struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. What are you talking about? I guess if that's leftist for you, but okay. But I don't know when they're gonna get the hint that most look, do what you want to do, man. Go pray to who you want to pray to. Enjoy that till the goddamn cows come home. But it's not a Christian country. You can say it's a Christian nation all the live long day, but we have the Constitution that makes it clear it's not. We have founding fathers that make it clear it's not. And not the founding fathers don't really matter. The best thing the founding fathers ever did was say this Constitution is malleable. That's it. Anything else, everything else you can say about them, they're not gods. They weren't prophets. They just said, hey, let's take what we've learned from other governments in history and let's do the best to make a new version that's better. And in that, they said you can amend the Constitution. That's the biggest genius part of it right there. But they did say, hey, it's not a Christian nation. So back the fuck off. I don't know why this is hard for some of you guys. I really don't understand. But anyway, we'll see where this goes. But what's interesting that this comes on the heels. This comes on the heels of this it comes on the heels of two things. Because what we're going to get to is sort of why some people are the way they are. Why some people are conservative to such a degree that for people like me, and I don't hate conservatives at all, but I do hate MAGA, that a lot of these people are willing to really throw out all these things that they're supposed to be about morality and whatnot in America, whatnot. Just, I don't know why, but they're just fucking willing to do it. This is tangentially related, but it's related enough that we should bring it up. South Carolina measles outbreak doubles in a week. Huh. Who knew? More than 500 people are in a 21-day quarantine and about 200 are actively infected. The largest outbreak currently in the U.S. has spread to 3 other states. It is kind of amazing what happens when you listen to morons that tell you not to get vaccinated and don't get shots because, maybe there's microchips in them doing what? Doing fucking what? Listen to this. Glassdoor Gamer. Thank you so much for your support, buddy. We got 2 super chats coming in from Glassdoor. You can be just like your brother in Christ, Glassdoor Gaming, and donate some ducats to support the show if you want to. By the end of this show, I'm assuming you don't want to support the show, and that's fine. I got a lot of conservatives that watch this stuff, and that's fine, but, I don't have to tell you. America has lost its soft power, irreparable harm. Irreparable harm. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's irreparable, but we've definitely, look, I'd like to think, I'm going to say this, and look, I don't want to see any troops, certainly not American troops, get hurt at all. But the idea, I'm not, fuck it, I'm just going to say it. People might think this is a terrible thing to say, but if America actually does invade Greenland, which I don't expect them to do, and you've got NATO countries defending it, I'm going to root for the NATO guys. That's just the honest truth, man. Unless somebody can convince me or show me evidence that actually, there's a giant threat coming from Greenland, I'm going to kind of be in the, it'll kind of like being on a football team like at USC, but you're sitting on the USC side rooting for UCLA to win the game, or Alabama, Auburn. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm going to throw my my vote in. Not that I get a vote with the NATO folks. I don't know how you guys feel about it if you're American, because I'd like to think it's not irreparable harm, because I think most people know that not most Americans do not support this moron, and they do not support what he's about. The number of people who support this guy on a consistent basis in this second term are dwindling. How can Bible thumpers support Trump, says Glassdoor? Real Christians, from my understanding, probably don't. People in the comments were talking about, Embers Arcade's going to call in. Well, he might, but if he were to call in, I think he considers himself a real Christian. I think he takes his religion very seriously, and that's fine. I cannot imagine he supports Donald Trump. I think they only support him in the sense that maybe they're like, I'm going to get things I want that we've wanted as a group of Christian people in America for a long time. And thus we're willing to hold our nose and sort of put our morals kind of on hold for a while. That's the only explanation I can come up with, because God knows there ain't no Christian reason to do it. There ain't no religious reason that they would like this guy. Okay, now listen to this. Speaking of religion, speaking of Donald Trump, speaking of politics, this is what has a number of religious people in what I would call performative crash outs right now. I'm going to play this video. I'll just do a little bit of it, but here you go. This was this Sunday. This was in a church, I believe in Minnesota. And this guy comes into the church with a group of protests and interrupts the service. This is what it looked like. I'll just play a little bit of it.
Renee, good! Renee, good!
All right, so it goes on and on and on. You can watch it yourself. It's all over the news. And then here's the preacher right here. Here's what he says. Or the whatever pastor. I don't know what his thing is.
Shame on you! Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? I'm not going to comment. You have no comment, exactly. Say your name! Good! Say your name! Renee, good! Renee, good!
Freedom! We have a duty to
lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes.
Now, again, I don't know what Asmongold is doing there, but let's keep watching.
Doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit. Is a preacher? Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No. Jesus would dine with immigrants. Do not touch me. Touch me again and see what happens.
Hey, you can't.
Look at that tough. Look at this tough guy. Yeah, real tough guy, buddy.
You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this?
All right, so it goes on. You get the idea. Now, people are saying Don Lemon. I know Don Lemon was there. Oh, I love this. Look at how defiantly she closes her door. She's very upset about this. He's interrupted their church service. Look at this.
Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis.
Don Lemon, though, I know did an interview, which I'll show you in a second. And then this guy is chasing after the preachers. I don't know. I'm almost certain this was not organized by Don Lemon. But it was covered by Don Lemon for sure, but maybe it was, but I doubt it. So I want to talk about this. Let me get Durant. Durant says, thank you for the super chat. Specifically in the USA, it's the evangelical prosperity gospel strain of Christian nationalism that's also pushing for white supremacy. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So in this case, if I am this preacher, and in fact, here's Don Lemon. Oh, well, first, before I show you that, I got to show you this. Never in America is this okay, says Pastor Travis Johnson. Look at the bottom left corner. A child terrified as ICE protesters targeted a church in the Twin Cities today. Regardless of political affiliation, we can all agree that this is wrong. Religious liberty matters. Well, first off, I always feel for kids. This kid is scared. It's not a laughing matter. We should, it sucks. And no one goes to church expecting this. And as importantly, God forbid this kid has sensory issues. He's probably, totally freaked out. I don't think that's a laughing matter. That sucks. I'm not actually mocking the child. Of course not. But I will say this, though. This is where you draw the line. Not on a 6-year-old kid whose mom is dead. Not on all these families getting ripped apart. But we're supposed to be like, look at him. How can we look at him and not understand how awful this is? And it's like, yeah, man, this child will be permanently scarred by the assault on the church. Shut up, you fucking moron. I'll tell you what, man, if I was the goddamn preacher, and here he is right here, if I'm the goddamn preacher, I would be like, maybe this is a teachable moment. Maybe this is a moment where we can actually say clearly as fellow Christians, what you're doing right now, I'm not a fan of. You're interrupting our service, this, that, and the other. But you know what? We're Christian. And you are right. Whether or not you agree with how the immigration issue is being dealt with in America, there are people who are suffering and who are being separated from their families. And as Christians, we should pray for them, or we should ask God to help us in this moment of great divide in our country. But instead, this is kind of what he tells Don Lemon. Let me see. I had it queued up and then I just kind of lost it because I wanted to show you this fucking stupid thing. Here we go. Is this the one right here? Hang on. But I love this. Like, oh, the children. What will we do about the children? I don't know, pal. I don't really know.
On you.
Let me just get the Don Lemon thing then. I'll just bring it up. Because he interviews the guy, Church, Don Lemon. And I don't know why Don Lemon is involved in this other than he just happened to be there recording it. A church in Minnesota. Now, by the way, I didn't know this was the same one, by the way. Thank you, Don Lemon, for getting the recording. A church in Minnesota reportedly has an ICE agent as a pastor. Churches are supposed to be safe havens, and if this pastor is an agent, he's definitely reporting people. Well, I don't know about that, but I definitely think it is a news story if it turns out that this church is being led by an ICE agent. But here's the interview.
To interrupt, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt
a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will say,
I have to take care of my flock.
okay,
and my
but listen,
family.
we live
Flock.
in, there's a
Your flock. Please stop calling them a flock. It makes you sound like a fucking weirdo.
Constitution and the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be
That's
very
why we're
respectful.
here.
Please don't push me, though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yes.
Okay, that's why we're here. That's what we're about.
Don't you
We're-
think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and
worship.
love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
No
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
Unless you're here
chronicle
to
what
worship.
happened?
Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you.
So, I mean, again, I don't know why Don Lemon is unless you guys are saying Don Lemon organized this. It sounds like he's there to report on it, but whatever, regardless. Shameful to interrupt everyday people to take away their rights. I don't think anyone's taking away. Okay, let's be clear on this. So churches are a little bit weird when it comes to this, right? If the protesters broke the law, then I don't think this is a First Amendment issue at that point. If it turns out that like churches are public or private, but when they open their doors to the community to worship, and I do roll my eyes when I say that, then it becomes like, well, in that case, like they weren't interrupting a meeting behind closed doors of the I don't know, when the church is doing private stuff, like, as they are wont to do. It was a public open to the community service, in which case I don't really know if that changes the legality of it, but assuming it doesn't, maybe it should be illegal. Maybe they should have called the cops. I don't know. But at the same time, though, if you're actually a preacher or a priest or a religious figure or whatever, you would think that you would be like, what an opportunity, man. What an opportunity to reach out to people and say, let us tell you the Christian angle on this. Let us tell you the religious angle on this that maybe can bring some, soothing balm to these divided times. I don't know. But again, if this guy is actually an ICE agent, perhaps not. Perhaps not. He's banged to rights for inciting it. What? Got him outside talking about going in. All right. Well, then great. If he incited it and if it is illegal, then sure. And that's fine, by the way. I mean, I don't, if it turns out this guy, and you guys educate me if you don't mind on this, is the guy Don Lemon is talking to, is he actually an ICE agent? And if he is, and you're Don Lemon, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll risk going to jail. Some things are worth risking, your temporary freedom for. And this might be one of them. I don't know. Gun says, Jaffe, be honest. Do you think these edgelords affected real change, or is it something that they're doing for internet points? What's sad about morons, and I love you, Gun, but what's sad about morons is, so what you're saying is the civil rights sit-in lunch counter, these guys were just doing this, what, for internet points? When the black guys came and sat at the lunch counter that was for whites only. I don't know. Maybe they were doing it because this is just simply wrong. And it's not American. And it's not acceptable to most people that genuinely value this country and the institutions and the philosophies that this country was founded on. But yeah, sure. It's just for internet points. What are you talking about? The fuck are you talking about? No, I think you put people in a situation like what is happening in Minnesota, and it's so clearly an abuse of power on the part of the federal government. That what are you going to have them do? What you want them to do is go away. That's what you want, right? Because fundamentally, they're like, look, well, we're not going to necessarily pick up rifles and shoot. You don't want that. It's basically like that great meme of like, it's like, don't protest, don't be loud. I basically just want you to be dead, right? With the guy who ultimately, it's like, that's better when you're shot and dead. These people don't actually want the freedom that this country offers. No, great Apple dates. That's your name, really? Okay. Hey, it works for you, baby. Disgusting. It's pretty simple. If these Democrat state officials would cooperate with federal law enforcement, none of this would be happening. These anti-ICE agitators are attacking anyone they want. Dude, what the fuck are you on about? They're out there because ICE is attacking whoever the fuck they want. And the reason that people are against ICE, the majority, by the way, of America is against the way this is happening. They're against ICE because they are indiscriminately picking people up and terrorizing people and shooting people, and threatening to shoot people, including minors, by the way. I'm not entirely sure where you get this idea that they should just comply, but I kind of know you guys. According to who? In terms of ICE support, you don't believe? Oh, I'll show you that. Poll numbers, ICE support America. Let's see. I saw this yesterday. CBS News polls find more Americans say ICE is being too tough. New poll captures dissatisfaction over economy and immigration. Voters oppose ICE amid shootings in Minneapolis. Most Americans say ICE has been wrong. Half Americans think ICE is making U.S. cities less safe. It's not, and I'm not reading you one poll. I'm reading you poll after poll after poll after poll. Forget the fact that this is happening when there was just some more Epstein testimony recently. But, God forbid your idol and savior, Donald J. Trump, would ever be held accountable for anything. God forbid somebody didn't give him a Nobel Peace Prize, so he wants to go take over. Shit, what are you talking about? Some of you people are morons. Did you see the guy Lang who acts far-right Christian, but he's Jewish, got beat up in Minnesota? I did see somebody got beat up in Minnesota. I'm not sure what the fuck it matters what his religion is. It's all stupid. The Democrats are making it less safe. You know what? That's like saying that the people who the resistance that fought against the Nazis are making Germany less safe in the 30s. If you just wouldn't have fought the Nazis, there wouldn't have been a war. What the fuck? The fuck are you on about? What are you talking about? I really don't. But here's the thing, you guys. You have to understand this. Yeah, is that right, Real Boss Moss? ICE making SEAL Team 6 look like incompetent morons. Yeah, sure. Tyler says, I don't know how anybody with a sane mind can defend Trump at this point. Even the Republicans are talking impeachment now. Yeah, the guy's out of his fucking mind. But hey, if you want to defend Trump, there's the click at the top of the link there, the link at the top of the YouTube chat. Call in. Let me know what you think. But what's interesting about this, though, is I was reading about authoritarianism, not the political mindset of it, but the psychological aspect of it, where there are people, according to psychological studies, that say that people who are predisposed to want to follow leaders, it really is it's a mental mindset thing. It's like you come to the planet pre-wired to be that kind of a person. And so a lot of it is they're like the reason that you can never really escape the problem via conversation with a lot of these people is you might as well be trying to teach a dog algebra, because they don't want to actually listen, not because your points are not valid, but because it just isn't getting through. Because all they want is to feel like someone's got their back, someone's being led. Am I comparing Trump to a Nazi just like the rest of the weirdo liberal scum? If the swastika armband fits, baby, why the hell not? But What aspect are there aspects that Trump is doing that are absolutely clearly from the 1930s fascist playbook that Hitler followed and also somewhat authored? Yes. Do I think he's currently rounding up Jews and putting them in concentration camps? No. So, you got to be specific about what aspect when I say Trump is kind of a Nazi. What part are you disagreeing with? And Eternal's right. And this is why I've always said, I don't have a problem with conservatives. I don't agree with them. I don't like a lot of their policies. I have family that are conservatives. I have friends that are conservatives. I think some of their points are incredibly stupid and even harmful, and they probably think the same about mine. But that's just politics. MAGA is a different thing. Eternal says there's a record number of Republicans jumping off the sinking MAGA ship after their term is up too. Yeah. By the way, I'll bring you on in a second, Turtle. By the way, Addie Pie says, got a theory why you can't bag sponsors. You are someone that's burned bridges with major I haven't burned bridges with Sony. Maybe other companies don't want to associate with. I'm pretty sure that's not the case. I'm pretty sure that, Tory Holistic's weed company doesn't give a shit if there's, Jen Clark over in PR allegedly doesn't like me and I don't allegedly like her. I'm pretty sure they don't give a fuck about that. And I still have great friends over at Sony, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. I don't think it's right to fake a religion to gain political control, sell them books and stuff, says LBB. Well, no. I mean, I know anybody that believes Donald Trump is a true Christian is a fucking moron. Wouldn't the threat to democracy, says great Apple, is left-wing politicians trying to stop what a majority of Americans voted for, which is mass deportations of the 20 million unvetted illegals imported in 4 years. So what I would say to you is I think I need evidence of that happening. The left is basically saying, they're not saying pick up guns and fight these people. That's you have been sold a bill of goods. You have been sold a bill of goods that says that all these protests are paid protests. I mean, again, don't you want receipts? I'm telling you, as a guy who's been to about 10 protests in the last 5 years, 6 years, I've never gotten paid for it. I've never met anyone that's gotten paid for it. I've never seen a news story suggesting someone's gotten paid for it. I have seen stories of agitators that are on the left and the right that are part of law enforcement that go there to try to manipulate the situation for various reasons. But the majority of the people out there are out there because they're pissed off and they're mad. So your idea that the left-wing politicians are trying to stop what a majority of Americans voted for, they are trying to do what they can within the limits of the law and free elections. And if they run afoul of that, as much as I hate what Trump is doing, I wouldn't support them. One of the reasons all this is happening and Trump is ratcheting everything up and telling you, even though there's like 1.6 apparently undocumented workers in Texas, in Los Angeles, there's like 130,000 apparently undocumented folks in Minnesota. There are over 1 million in places like Texas and California and like two other, one's a red state, one's a blue state. Why suddenly Minnesota is targeted? This is why you should be worried, because it doesn't make sense. Even if you are totally okay with how awful ICE is being, why be awful in Minnesota? What the fuck is happening in Minnesota? This is not, you're not being told the truth, is what I would say. Trump says Civil Rights Act hurt white people, says Durant. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, of course it did. And it should. Whenever equality comes along, the people who are practicing inequality feel like they're getting the short end of the stick, and they are. They're having abilities removed that were never theirs to begin with because they got them illegally and they got them immorally. And the rest of the country caught up and said, this isn't okay. Sorry. I'm sure getting rid of slavery hurt a bunch of white people too. Oopsies. Oh, well, guess you got to fucking pick your own fucking cotton now, don't you, motherfucker? So what? So fucking what? Trump could have enforced the Insurrection Act a week ago. Wouldn't an evil Nazi dictator do that as soon as they could? I don't know. I don't know. Basically, what my understanding on that is he floated the idea of the Insurrection Act less than a week ago. A bunch of people in the Republican Party said, this is way too fucking far at this point, pal. And the next day he's like, it was just a thought experiment. So, yeah. But again, what you don't understand is I am not saying that Donald Trump, what do you think I'm saying that the spirit, if you believe in such things, left the body of Hitler and flew into little Donald J. Trump as a baby? I'm not saying it's a one-to-one comparison, but does it have to be a one-to-one comparison for you to recognize some of the things that are pretty starkly mirrored in Trump's actions? Do you like the way the country is going right now? Do you like this? Great Apple dates? Is this fun for you? You voted for people being shot in the face. You voted for a bunch of poorly trained thugs to be able to roll up on American citizens and detain them and put them in bad conditions and have no, in fact, one of the ICE, some of the ICE people told an attorney today, the attorney wasn't allowed to see their clients in one of the ICE holding facilities. And literally the ICE guy said, well, if we let you guys in to see your clients, we have to let all the attorneys in to see their clients. And it would be chaos. And it's like, yes, you stupid hillbilly knuckle dragging mouth breather. Can you believe that? Great Apple? Oh, you mean what? Due process? One of the reasons we fight for and apparently love America is we're all innocent till proven guilty. That? What would be chaos? What if everybody got to have an attorney? Well, that's ridiculous. We're not going to allow that. How can you support that? This is exactly what got Charlie Kirk eliminated and Trump almost eliminated. I don't understand that. I still don't really know why Charlie Kirk was shot. Anybody who gets shot, whether it's Charlie Kirk or this good lady in Minnesota, it's not a good thing. I'm not a fan, but I'm not sure what you're comparing to. Jaffe, you should talk about this letter to the Prime Minister of Norway. Oh, I know. It's super embarrassing. Yeah, the problem with it. I don't know where Pete Turtle went. Let me bring in Sal real quick. Then if Pete Turtle calls back, we'll bring him on. All right, Sal.
Hello, Jaffe. What's going on?
Not doing a show. What are you up to? What are you wearing?
I'm just rain stuff,
What's going on, pal?
Just watching your show.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, I was hearing your big debate about the ICE deportation and all that process, and I was in that process in the US back in 2018. Following the process of
immigration.
Immigration, but I didn't go through it because at the time the Trump administration accelerated the court cases. Instead of you seeing a judge in 3 years, you needed to see the judge in 2 weeks or something like that.
Okay, and so what's the problem?
So that the problem is, well, I didn't want to. I have the opportunity to present my case, but I didn't want to. I have an option, but I saw other people struggling, to make ends meet because you have to spend money,
right,
while going through that process,
Okay. All right. Well, so what do you think about, are you in America now or no?
No, I'm not in America. I'm in Europe.
Watching in Europe, what do you think about what's happening in America right now?
Well, in Europe, practically everything that is happening in the US is happening very slowly, little by little. Immigration stuff. I don't suffer too much, practically at all, because I have a European passport.
So why do you think it's happening? Do you believe this idea that it's basically all the immigrants coming in from Muslim countries and just the cultures are so different that it's causing too much disruption?
in France, it's happening a lot of with the Muslim and with the Africans. There's a lot of complaints, and in Spain also. In
Mhm.
Spain, practically, I was there last year.
Mhm.
I went to, and I spent some time with my friend in Spain, and pretty much they fear the practically all the criminals are Africans or Muslims. And here I heard one of my, I mean, I living in Portugal. Here I heard one of my friends from Brazil complaining about the Muslim population here,
Mhm.
that pretty much they live for free here, while the Brazilian population needs to go to work immediately, begin to pay taxes, while it's
Right.
not the
So
same with,
again, I don't know if that is
I don't know. It's not
true.
a coincidence anymore,
Right.
when you see it
But
so
again,
many places.
but the problem is though, there are different ways to handle things, right? Like this guy in the chat,
Yeah.
Great Apple says, illegal folks should be deported. Immigrants are great for the country. We're a country of law and order. You can't run a country on emotions. So I don't think most people would disagree with that core idea, right? I think whether you're getting people in that are agnostics, Jews, Muslims, Christians, whatever, if you
Yeah.
come into a country or anywhere that has a series of laws and you can't assimilate enough to those laws, the world shouldn't change for you. You don't belong there. I don't think there's a problem with that. Or if you're a drain on a lot of resources at the expense of people who are there legally, then there needs, the issue isn't really what Great Apple Dates is saying. The issue is more how it's being done. There is an American and even, dare I say, Christian and kind way to say, this is not the time for you to be in America. And we will work with you and we have processes, but we're not going to hire a bunch of fucking thugs to shoot at you and detain you and not let you see attorneys and pull you off the streets if you're a citizen. That's the reason a lot of people are upset. I don't think they're upset about the fact that, immigration is trying to be dealt with in America in a more effective way. It's the way it's happening is the problem a lot of us have. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
I agree with you in the sense that, and was even true before maybe 1 year ago. No, like a half of the 2025,
Yeah.
in which Trump wants the immigration issue to become like a entertainment
Yeah. I
of
mean,
some kind, a
it's a
live show.
distraction. He's a fucking disaster. And yeah, this letter he sent. I mean, the guy, they really need the real enemy right here are the fucking people in
Well,
Congress that
you,
won't get rid of
you,
this
you
guy.
know that I'm Venezuelan, isn't it?
Oh,
You know that I'm
yeah.
from Venezuela.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not, I don't know enough about that guy, but it was weird that it's not like, we heard about Saddam Hussein since 92, right?
Yeah.
It was like we knew about this guy being a problem. This Venezuelan guy, it just came out of nowhere, like Greenland. It's like, when did Greenland become a thing? I'm pretty into this stuff, and I haven't heard Greenland mentioned for a very long time. So I don't know. All right, Sal, thanks for the call, buddy. We appreciate it. All right, see you, bud. All right, Turtle, if you're out there, give us a shout. Okay. Okay. I'm reading the chat. Sorry. Jaffe, 170 Americans were wrongly detained out of 700,000 detainments. So, it's not the point. And I don't know if your numbers are accurate, but even if they were accurate, it's still one too many. And they're still basically doing all of it, even if they're detaining 100% accurate, correct, and they're not making any mistakes. So what does it matter? It's the way they're doing it. Are we not? I mean, how can you on one hand pretend and perform to be upset about my church service has been interrupted, Jesus is important to us. Christianity is important to us. But then you support the way we're treating fellow humans on the planet. I think it's performative. I think it's horseshit. And I do call out the left when they do their performative horseshit. This is the right's performative horseshit problem. You do not get to do this to other people. It's cruel. It's mean. And we should be ashamed. But the problem is a lot of y'all are not ashamed of it. You're not ashamed of it. And you should be. And you should get this guy out of office. He's a danger. Yeah, I did watch the video of the guy. Well, there wasn't one guy. Yeah, it wasn't disgusting that he was harassing them in church. So what? Look, if they were in the church illegally, they should be asked to leave. And if they didn't leave, they should be arrested for trespassing. But the fact that it was disgusting, really? The church has lost its ability to have a moral high ground. Sorry, but they have. When they have people in power molesting little kids for centuries, and instead of reporting and firing them, they just transfer them to another church. I'm sorry, but they ceded the high ground a long fucking time ago, man. I refuse to act like, oh my God, you interrupted church. So what? I would be more offended if they interrupted like an afternoon screening of Avatar. At least, you know, James Cameron ain't done anything, as far as we can tell, diddled any fucking kids. I'm sorry, but that's some performative pearl clutching, my friend. The problem is the Democratic officials in Minnesota making ICE go, shut up. That doesn't even make any sense. Makes no sense. The whole point is to fire up Democratic voters for the midterms. Guys, come on, man. Can't you just... I'm not saying you're wrong that they want to fire up voters for the midterms, and I'm not saying the Democrats don't do a bunch of shady crap too, because they do. But if you believe all this is about that, then you also have to believe that all of what Trump is doing is about not letting people see the Epstein files and distracting you, because come on. I mean, everything these politicians do is a political op. There's no doubting that. But in this case, let me ask you a question. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a political operation that just so happens to point out that we have these thugs with guns and badges and masks that are treating everybody, not the least of which is American citizens, horribly and illegally probably? Or would you rather have a political op that distracts you from the fact that the president is probably a fucking pedophile? We know he's already a convicted felon. Which one's worse? At least the political op in Minnesota, if it is that, is pointing out, hey, these are some bad dudes. What are you guys going to do in 2028? Who are you going to blame everything on? It just isn't like that, Ghetto God. I would hope anybody who listens to any streams I've done knows good and goddamn well that I am an open-minded guy. I don't like Trump. I think he's dangerous. I don't like Stephen Miller, his little Goebbels going on over there. You saw what he said today. He says the federal law in Minnesota is basically the only law. And if you're the cops, if you're like public servants or cops in Minnesota, you should surrender. I mean, that was a slip up. If I surrender, what are you fucking talking about, you fucking moron? When Team Blue wins, Jaffe will be as silent as a church mouse. Try me. Go back to my other streams. Do I tend to believe more in leftist progressive values? 100%. 100%. But I am never supportive of any politician that does crooked, bad shit or does shit that's not in the interest of America. And not in the interest of Americans becomes subjective, of course. Crooked, bad shit is pretty easy to tell. I would absolutely not doubt. I have no evidence of it, but I believe the Clintons have probably gotten into enough shady shit that I understand why people, I don't think there's Pizzagate. I don't believe in any of that QAnon crap. But do I think they've probably played loose and fast with a lot of the rules? Probably. And if it turns out they have, they should be thrown in jail. It's not about who to blame unless the person you're blaming is actually guilty of something. But again, reading this article has been fascinating in the not the New York Times, this article about authoritarianism as a psychological trait of individual people, not at a government level. There are people out there, there are people who just don't want to see nuance. They don't want to see the reality. They want to see something that makes them feel safe. They want to follow because that's kind of how they have been made. Oh, I agree. Chuck Schumer's terrible at this point. Pelosi, thank God, is getting out, but it's taken forever. I'm down for term limits. Absolutely. But we'll never get it because the right won't vote for it and the left won't vote for it. And the only reason the Democrats, and I agree with this, want to have elections as a national holiday is because when more people vote, more Democrats win. But that bill is constantly being killed by who? 99% of the time it's by the Republicans. Think about that. We can have a national holiday to celebrate all kinds of shit. You know, why would we not just change President's Day and make President's Day always fall on the day of an election when there is one that year, at least a federal election? Why would we not do that? Then that way you're off work. Everybody can vote. Well, we don't want that. We don't want that. It's not an intellectual limitation, at least according to this article. There are people who really are resigned to be predominantly wanting to be followers. We all come into the world, it says predisposed. It says the authoritarianism is about 50% hereditary. We all come into the world predisposed, wishing with varying intensity for oneness and sameness or for freedom and difference. From there, our environments and experiences modify us mostly at the margins. Lack of openness and cognitive incapacity predispose one to authoritarianism by reducing one's willingness and ability, respectively, to deal with complexity. People lacking openness to experience dislike variety, novelty, diversity, complexity, and are averse to the unconventional and unfamiliar. Those with cognitive limitations will naturally likewise prefer simplicity and are ill-equipped for complexity. That is a lot of people watching this show. Not all of them, not the majority, but a lot of you guys in the comments, that's you. I don't know if that makes you a bad person, but it should make you self-aware enough to go, maybe I shouldn't be having much of an opinion over this. You have a right to, but think about it. You're not equipped for it. Just like I'm not equipped to, be a doctor. I don't fucking know. You have a right to vote. That's democracy, as you should. But sometimes stop making it like someone's trying to pick on you. No one's trying to pick on you. We're just telling you you're wrong. This is wrong. I mean, goddamn, how, Jesus fucking Christ. Is it that hard to put yourself in the shoes of these people and go, shit, I wouldn't want my family being treated that way? I think I think unfortunately not everybody should vote, but I believe more in the principles of everyone should vote. So I think we have to live with the messiness that we're going to have people who are voting for people because they think their take on a candidate, which is, I like that guy, I don't know why, I just want to have a beer with him, or he was funny on SNL or whatever. They think that that is a valid reason to vote for someone. And it isn't. And unfortunately, even though you can stack reams of evidence for those people and say, look, that doesn't mean anything, they will still, for whatever reason, ego or intellectual limitations, they will still vote for those people. But I would much more I would much more prefer people just accept the fact that it's like, oh, there are things I don't know. And I'm not qualified. I'm going to sit this election out but I would much prefer the sloppiness and the danger that comes from that than to say, no, you don't get to vote. You're not, quote, smart enough. I think that's a real problem. That's a real fucking problem. Yeah. Bill Clinton in the sacks. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I don't want Bush in there either. I would have voted back in the day for Perot, but he kind of dropped out and lost a lot of his momentum. Ghetto God says, just like how black people voted for Obama. I don't know what motivated black people to vote for Obama. I can tell you that I voted for Obama happily, and it had, there was a little bit that I thought it was cool that we could have a black president finally in a country that was built on the back of slavery. But that wasn't, there have been black people who have run before. I didn't vote for Jesse Jackson. Certainly didn't vote for, who is the senator? Scott from Florida, who's a black dude running in the primaries last election. So I'm sure that there were some people that only voted because he was black, but get in line. How many people only voted for Trump because he was on TV in The Apprentice? I mean, there's, everybody's going to bring their, pros and cons to the table, and they're going to use what they can. Fingering a willing participant is worth what? I don't understand that. Disagreeing everyone should vote, but the weight of those shouldn't be the same. Well, then why should everyone vote then? But the weight should be the same. It's going to be what we have now. That's the problem, Anna. Anna says, how do we know if we're smart enough to vote? You don't, because who gets to make the test? That's why we should never have a test for voting. If we want to follow American ideals, do I think we could probably, for a while, have a more pleasant country if we had a test for voting? Sure. But inevitably, you're going to get corruption into that system, and it's going to be a fucking shit show. So, and again, who gets to decide? It's cool, and you can. Eternal, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you be specific? 75 IQ versus 170 IQ. Did you vote for or against? What reason? We need a point system for that weight. Well, again, you're not going to be able to do that and uphold the ideals of the country. And that's, I think those ideals are better than other options we've got. So in the meantime, we may as well do that. Listen to this, you guys. Listen to this. Have I ever had a New York bagel? I've been to New York only once. I loved it, but I don't know if I ate a bagel when I was there. Maybe. I do wish, says Eternal, we had a civics test to run for public office. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but that's kind of the same thing. But it's all built on the idea that we are, it's like the jury system. I mean, think about it. I've been on a jury a couple times. It's a nightmare because a lot of people are stupid, and a lot of people are there, and they want it to be like TV, and they want to be dramatic, or some people don't want to go back to their job, so they'll drag things out. It's kind of shitty. And this idea that it's like, oh, it's the jury of your peers. I'd rather an AI judge me, frankly, like that movie coming out soon with Chris Pine. But yeah, here's what I wish, think about this. All of the talk about having the 10 commandments in Texas and the goddamn classroom. Holy shit, man. How about, you can't graduate high school unless you pass a civics class it doesn't have to be super rigorous, but it needs to be at least, we know you understand the core tenets of the goddamn Constitution and the Republic. I don't know. It's bad, man. It's bad. I don't know where this is going to end up, but the good news is we get, here's what I'll tell you. I was feeling very bad about the state of things, and I still kind of am, but I was feeling really rotten about the state of things over the weekend. And I'm not joking with you. It was so nice to see. And I know a lot of people are making fun of it, and I really just don't give a fuck. The new Star Trek, because as much as you may love or hate it, I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It wasn't great Star Trek, but it was very good Star Trek. You know, I love the optimism. I love this idea that if we can just hang on and if we can just survive, we can evolve to a point where we can actually express the best parts of what it means to be a citizen of Earth. You know, I know it sounds crazy, but you know, I just do. It's nice to feel a little positivity. Yeah. Paul Giamatti was the villain. He was great. He was great. You know, a lot of people bitched about Becky Lynch from the WWE is in it. There's this real hot woman in it who plays this Betazoid. She's pretty fucking awesome. But of course, everybody's just focusing on, oh, there's a fat person. There's a fat person in Star Trek. People are idiots. But, you know, they probably didn't watch it. I don't know, man. Everybody's so negative about all this shit all the time. Can't you guys just have a good time? But it's probably just Twitter. Like, I don't see that in other places. I don't know, man. People are just so fucking negative about everything. Like, I literally put a tweet out, you guys, that was this. This was my tweet on Twitter about Star Trek. I wasn't trying to ram it down anyone's throat. I was just saying this. I said, is Starfleet Academy, that's what it's called. Is Starfleet Academy perfect? And I says to the people, I say, no, Lord, no. And goodness, they need to find a Kevin Feige of Star Trek a decade ago, but it's still good, solid Trek. Holly Hunter is a fantastic captain. The kids are great, and the action is big budget, tentpole quality. And if you love Trek, it works. Okay. And then the comments were, I mean, not all, but most. These receipts, Star Trek is dead. It's like, I wasn't asking you to shit on my post. I don't care if you didn't like it. Then just don't say anything. The clip seems sus, says Bruno. Agree to disagree. This guy's saying it's rage bait. And you know, similar in other places. And it's just like, just if you don't agree, move on. Move the fuck on. I agree, Gun. Maybe everything in Star Trek is free. Maybe we'd be nicer to each other if we didn't have to work for money. You're probably right. But who do you think keeps us from that? It ain't the libs. It ain't even the right. It's the fucking motherfuckers who are, you know, the 1% running the fucking show, man. That's who you got to worry about. Thank you, Machine. I appreciate it. Why couldn't they just let the franchise die? Why would they need to? It's a great fucking franchise. It's hopeful. It celebrates space. It celebrates science. Why would you want it to die, you moron? If you don't like it, don't watch it, but people love it. I still love Star Trek. It gives you hope. There's a Star Trek video game coming out pretty soon I'm excited about. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Be a little fucking positive about something. God knows trust me, man. You know, you watch this fucking show, you know good and well. We have plenty to be pissed about. Can we at least enjoy the fact that we have Star Trek in our lives, as good, bad, or otherwise as it may be at any given time? I'd love to see a better showrunner come in. I don't think Starfleet Academy is like the best fucking show, but Jesus fucking Christ, at least a little bit of positivity. So many cynical fuckers because people hate things, says Machine. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. And I get it. Maybe they have a right to be cynical. Maybe they've earned it. Maybe they've inherited it. Like this guy, Nerdotic, says, my live stream with a Spock action figure in an empty chair beat Star Trek Starfleet Academy's 1,300 peak live viewers on YouTube in under 3 minutes. In other words, he got more views. So, wow. You fucking cynical fuck. You think younger kids today just can't enjoy anything? You think anybody under 20 likes anything? Anybody under 30 you guys like anything? Does anything bring you joy? Is everything a problem? What's that about? I know the world's falling apart. I know America's falling apart, but for the love of fucking God, man, enjoy something. Find something you like. Any books you read recently you liked? Something go. Jeez fucking Christ, aren't you sick of it? You got to be sick of it. It can't just be me. You got to be sick of all this fucking negativity. I would jump out of a window if I was a fucking therapist. All these people, you got to want to meet joy halfway sometimes. But so many of y'all are just ready to fucking, I mean, do you even like your families? It's not about distracting yourself. It's okay to distract yourself and be entertained from time to time. Doing it at a level of escape from the real world is a problem. But, hell, nothing wrong with distraction. The world's a tough place. Why not? I try to enjoy games, says Sergeant, but when I need to work 60 hours a week just to maybe get a chance to buy a house. Well, yeah, I get it. And that sucks. But wouldn't it be better just to acknowledge why you're really mad then and stop shitting on other stuff that you don't really want to shit on and shit on the reason you have to work 60 hours a week for the off chance of maybe being able to buy a house? Isn't that the problem? Maybe if we could focus on the problem and we all realized why we're really so upset, maybe we could do something about it. Jeff, where'd it go? Star Wars hasn't died. No, Amazing Maisie. It hasn't. I know Kathy Kennedy, it's her last week. I liked Kathy Kennedy. I like some of the work she did. I'm excited to see what the new Star Wars guys do. I love Star Wars. Some of it's shit, but goddamn. To hear fans talk about it, everything's terrible all the time. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just the way people are wired. Maybe the internet brought me to the awareness that maybe you guys were always unhappy. Maybe when the Goonies was out when I was a kid in 85, if I would have had the internet, you guys would have been shitting on Goonies, Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, the first 3 Star Wars. I mean, hell, probably if it was 90s era WWE, you guys would have been shitting on that too. Maybe you guys just are mad. Maybe you need some fucking therapy. Fucking Zoloft. I don't know what you need. I'm tired of it, though. I'm tired of it. You know what I should do? Do I love Kathy Kennedy? Yeah, I do. I think Kathy Kennedy is an absolute icon of the entertainment industry. And if you don't know what she has done and what she has contributed, then that's a you problem, pal. Kathy Kennedy was one of the key people working with Spielberg back from I think 79. I think she started his secretary on Close Encounters and rose to be the producer of most of his biggest films and run Amblin with him. And she also started her own production company that made a lot of hit movies with her husband, Frank Marshall, a film director and film producer for Spielberg. So did she drop the ball on her Star Wars stuff? Some of it, sure. It was never great. I thought the thing with what was the one they did with getting the Death Star plans? What was that one called? That was pretty good. I thought Mandalorian was a great first season. I liked Obi-Wan. I mean, how in the fuck you can watch Obi-Wan where Obi-Wan and Darth Vader get to fight again? And it's like, holy shit, that's what it should have looked like in episode 4, New Hope, back in the 70s, but they couldn't do it. And now it looked like a goddamn martial arts movie with Obi-Wan and Darth Vader going at it and Vader's mask cracking and it pushes in and you see that Anakin's in there. And that's not good. I don't know. I just don't know what to tell you. I feel for you, man. Nothing makes you happy. Maybe you're depressed. Ever thought about that? Maybe a lot of these people are just depressed we're talking to all the time. Let's bring in Mr. Loser. I love that name. That's got to be great. Well, Mr. Loser, how's it going, champ?
Hi.
Hi. What's going on, buddy?
Uh-oh.
You think you're what? You're on a delay because you're listening through your computer. You have to listen to your
Yeah, I got it.
All right, what's up?
Okay. So here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Jumping right into the topic, reverse psychology.
Okay.
Everything I see in the news, sometimes when I hear you speak, I guess what I feel like is I feel like people take the bait. One sign to me that it's obvious you're taking the bait is when things are obvious. I think I heard you during the stream say a couple times, no, duh, everyone's stupid. I can see it so clearly, etc. These are things
Be specific.
that are just clear. I will. I'll dig into details. We'll explore details, right? But just saying the concept straightforwardly, it's like when something is so obvious, that means I'm taking the bait.
Okay. So give me an example of how I did that on this stream.
Oh, I'm not trying to call you out for any specific example here, but like let's talk about politics in general, right?
Okay.
Are you taking the bait ever? So, for example, I would argue that a lot of the bait is targeting some conservatives, right? For example, hey, let's keep it. I'll just use gaming examples, accessible. Hey, they put transgender dragons in Dragon Age Inquisition.
Okay.
Is that the bait? Because I argue that's the bait.
Well, anything's bait depending on your perspective. Are you saying that they did it as conservative bait via the team, or who's laying the bait in the case of the transgender dragons?
Well, so you agree transgender dragons are a trend?
A trend?
Yeah.
Trend. I know there was a transgender dragon in.
You know, I'm using that for short. I'm using that as shorthand. It's not literal.
Well, then I don't know what's the shorthand. What's the metaphor?
Rainbows everywhere. Things like that.
Okay, so do I think sort of
That's a trend. If you want to say it in like a overly liberal progressive way,
it's not a progressive way, but I just want to be. I want to be clear. You're basically saying that an overt celebration of LGBT existence is
that's a different way to say it, right?
But that's what we're saying. That's what we're talking about. Okay, keep going.
Sure. So I think your mindset on this isn't. Do you agree it's not traditional? Do you agree it's kind of counterculture to traditional U.S. values? You could call it propaganda.
What do you think my perspective is on it?
I think you're kind of the counterculture, or at least traditionally. If it's any time before the last 20 years, you are the counterculture.
I believe in rights of all people, and I don't really care what they identify as and who they sleep with or who they want to sleep with. What is that?
Is that the counterculture of 20 years ago, or is that the mainstream of 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 30 years ago?
It's certainly not the mainstream of 50 years ago. No.
1980, 1990. How about 1990?
Well, depend. Yeah, certainly it's going to depend. The further up you get towards modern,
you don't view yourself as the counterculture even to this day. Like in a way, even to this day, you're not.
I'm not trying to be difficult or avoiding your point. I just think maybe the term counterculture is weird to me because I'm not entirely sure when you say that what you mean. I can tell you that I have always been totally supportive of people being able to express themselves and be free to express and live the life they want as long as they don't hurt anybody else. That's not a new concept for me, but whether or not that was counterculture
absolutely not. But I think the let's call it the radical embrace, right? For example, if it's 1985 and they're putting, can we just shorten it to transgender dragons? I don't mean it pejoratively. It's just
So if I'm watching
1985, that's not exactly kosher, right?
I don't even think it was part of the conversation. So let's take gay, because gay was in 1985. The only gay characters I saw in culture were like they were the butt of the joke, like the next door neighbor. Like there was a show with Ted Knight from Caddyshack, and there was a guy named Monroe, and he was the breakout character, but he was super flamey, super over the top gay. Or Three's Company, you had John Ritter play the character that lied about being gay so he could live with the two female roommates, and they were always doing gay jokes. So, and that in the culture, if you were gay in traditional culture you were the butt of the jokes.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
And now it's different, right? And
Now
the
it's different.
last definitely 10 years, but maybe it extends further. Who cares
Whatever.
about the
But
exact date,
right. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
with you on that. Okay. Keep going.
Okay. I say this seems different. This seems markedly different than the past, right? It's a 180. That's why I'm saying even to this day,
What's
what if
this?
I just want to call it transgender dragons because it's the quickest way to say it.
But are you talking about gay or trans now? Because trans is trans now is basically, I think, where it's kind of a mix of where the gay culture acceptance was probably in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, right? But the gay culture now is not the trans dragon thing, right? So that's what I'm saying. It depends what you're talking about.
I get it, but I feel like it's an operating mode where it's like, I guess I'm saying, what if, for example, you are still the counterculture?
Okay,
right?
let's for the sake of this,
let's just like, I think you were probably the same back then. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
And I think you're the same now. And I think, I mean, I'll just ask you, like, do you think, at least as far as I can tell, you were the counterculture then, right?
I was a kid who grew up in Alabama, and I was for total First Amendment freedom of speech. So yeah,
which is a little bit different. Like you were kind of going against the grain, and it was kind of
I've never been the conservative guy that just that's fair, totally fair.
I wonder, like, I wonder. Hey, maybe I'm just putting it out there. Maybe I'm not saying it's true, but maybe you're still the counterculture. Maybe you're actually not representing the real mainstream. And I think even as probably the counterculture, go on.
I would agree. I would say my my views on things like absolute freedom of expression or the dangers of religion. I absolutely would agree with you that I am probably, I'm the most progressive guy you probably know, right? So I'm not.
Oh, you're not that. You're not that.
I'm not sitting in the center.
You're not that. Right. I've seen so much more. Okay.
It's
California most progressive.
I'm California.
It gets more Pacific Northwest. My friend.
Okay, fair enough. But what I'm saying though is, I think that's fine. So what about it though?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I think the thing is, you are the counterculture, and I think that there is a lot of this stuff isn't targeting you, and you're setting up and you're representing the bait. For example, most people are going to be targeted, and I think it's basically an element of reverse psychology, where you're the one saying, "Hey, this stuff is cool. This stuff is cool." You just said earlier right now, "Hey, it's okay if someone interrupts a church." Guess what? The mainstream, the typical mainstream, which is what, honestly, you want to say the U.S. government, the powers that be, back, it does not support that. They have historically not supported that in the majority of the country. So when you say stuff like that, I think you're setting up the bait. You are the counterculture, and you are providing the bait.
Okay, I got it now. I'm following your train. So I'm setting up bait for who?
I think you're setting up the bait for hardcore conservatism. Because, for example, you are being given bait that says, "Hey, do you see my perspective?" And I see your perspective. That's the thing. I see your perspective, right? I get where you're coming from. And you're saying, "Hey, if you angle it like this, we can these transgender dragons make sense. They're inclusive and they help. I get it." You say, "Hey, there's worse things than interrupting a church ceremony." I get it. But on the flip side, with a different interpretation, you are saying it's okay to interrupt a church. Hey, it's okay. It's okay if video games, which, most people, I know you play video games. You're old. Like, I'm not trying to say you're old, but you get what I'm saying. Like, a lot of people think games are for kids. And you're saying, hey, it's okay if you put this type of stuff in a kid's game. Or I know you don't want to interpret it as a kid's game. I know that's not how you think.
I mean, you do know I've made video games, right? I mean, I have a very different perspective on that. So
no, me too. Yeah. I don't want to give too much background on myself here, but same here, dude.
Okay, so what I'm saying is I don't look at video games being for kids as a counterculture argument in 2026. But
neither do I. I'm just saying, name your grandmother type. Who,
right. So
name
yeah,
your stereotype, whatever. What
yeah.
I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you are the counterculture.
Okay,
and
fine.
You are arguing, I think, some of these things that when someone sees, they're going to be like, "What the fuck is this guy saying?"
Right, but the point is if they were better educated, they wouldn't be saying that, which is why I say it.
Can you give like can you get from your perspective? I try to, give me a specific example on your side, something that comes to mind. I just want to hear where
an example of what?
Someone being really stupid.
Okay. I think when you have ICE, for example, going out into the streets, not reading people their rights, not having to follow a level of the law in terms of innocent until proven guilty. The guy today at the ICE facility said, if we allow you, a lawyer, to see your client, all of these people in here have to see their clients, and it would be chaos. And it's like, that's moronic. That's the whole point of our legal system, is you can be represented by an attorney. And if you can't afford one will be appointed to you by the court. Right. Well, yeah. I'm sorry that ICE is so stupid, and the people that support them are so stupid that they're like, yeah, we'd like to give you your, legal rights that all these Americans fought and died for, but sorry, that's just a little bit too much of a headache for us. I think that's a great example of morons that would still support ICE, or support ICE even in that case, going, well, yeah, no, that makes sense. And it doesn't make sense. It's absolutely horrible and illegal.
Do you feel like the ICE, the ICE stuff, I think, is complicated, right?
How is what I just explained complicated?
It's like immigration law. I don't feel like it resonates emotionally.
It does. I'm not saying it. Yeah, but we're talking about where people are stupid or uneducated is actually what I said, right? If you don't have the civics education to understand that it's not about the ICE agent struggling with the chaos of their job. It's not about the fact that ICE agent felt scared, and thus, because he felt scared, he gets to shoot indiscriminately. That's why they have training. That's why they have specific ways of doing things when they train you as a cop and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But people are so willing to give over the rights, especially other people's rights, for these lame excuses. That seems to be a real problem to me.
No, I totally understand that as an example. Right. I just feel like sometimes that's not top of mind for a lot of people, right? A lot of people,
right? Because they're not educated.
Remember, I was talking about the idea of like bait, right? Psychological bait. Like I said, you are the counterculture, and you are providing these elements of bait for people. Like, for example, remember back in the, I want to say 90s, maybe even early 2000s, people are talking about evangelicals. And there would always be some evangelical something, some protest something, and then it would work up someone else. We can talk about details and whether or not who's right, or, whatever it was specifically, who cares? Okay. But the point is that, in a way, I think that they were a bait. They were bait, and then there would be a reaction.
Okay, but okay, so let's assume what I talked about the guy in church today, because I looked at it, and to me, the point of bringing it up was hopefully we could have a valuable discussion about the idea that, wait a minute, Christians are supposed to be Christ-like. That's where the name Christian comes from, right?
And I just want to be clear, I didn't actually like that part.
Okay, but right, but
I don't know too much about that, but like,
but what I'm saying is, to you that would be bait, but to me, I look at that and I go, this is an opportunity to have a discussion. Like maybe, and again, I enter this open-minded. Maybe I'm missing something, but if you go to church and you're actually listening to what the preacher says,
which
ideally you would probably be totally against Trump and totally against ICE. How in the world would a true Christian support not illegal immigration? Of course, we have to have borders, blah, blah, blah. But the way that we're treating our fellow humans on this planet, I don't think that, I guess my point is the fact that, oh my God, can you believe they interrupted a sacred church service? And I'm like,
why do you think the details matter? Like you're talking like the details matter.
Well, are you, because okay, and
I'm talking about from the idea of popular opinion. At the end of the
okay,
day,
right.
Matter. You're taking the side of like
I understand
people's core values, right? Which
okay,
like sometimes I just want to clarify. Sometimes I see people nagging on, even when I say categorize the transgender dragging thing, I think I might be undermining some of your core values. And I say that, and maybe, just the phrasing of it might be a little bit antagonistic to
no, because I played Dragon Age. I know exactly. There was literally a transgender
someone okay, but I'm using it as shorthand, and I think someone with many of your values and sensibilities who is more sensitive, because you don't come off as particularly sensitive, may take offense to that, right?
I mean, I think it would depend on how you were expressing it, because you literally are talking about something that does exist.
I know, but you can just imagine someone's really sensitive. You can see.
Well, say something, and I'll tell you if it offends me. But otherwise, it's just hypothetical.
No. I'm not saying offends you. I'm saying someone who's really sensitive would be offended by that, and I'm trying to.
I think there are people that would be bothered by the fact that it's a discussion like, well, why can't we be openly and overtly celebrating our LGBT essence if you non-LGBT folks are able to spew that all over the place all the time? And I would say, that's a good point.
Yeah.
It's the same thing when they talk about this stuff shouldn't be on television. I have a transgender son, I assure you, and I do have a gay brother that, is very much in our lives. But short of that, it wasn't as if we took the kids to, transgender rallies. Not that
no.
Well, what I'm saying is, though, we were swimming and they were swimming, coming up with the Disney Channel and all that with very sort of normative ideas.
Yeah.
I didn't take offense to that. Like, oh, why don't we ever see gay relationships on TV? Never occurred to me to ask, because I'm not a gay guy. But now there's this hockey movie on Netflix or series that's about hockey, and there's these gay guys. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's really good and really popular. And I'm sure some people are upset about that. But I'm like, why? That's not bait. That's like, let people who are into those kind of stories have their stories too.
Do you see that other people who are not part of are in other groups, like for example, specifically religious groups, feel excluded?
Excluded from what? They can be gay if they want. Trust me, there's a lot of gays in those groups.
No, sorry, I wasn't mapping with the gay. I the way I took what you said is I heard, hey, there's you hadn't thought about the inclusion of gay or whatever groups.
Yeah, it never would have occurred to me growing up.
It didn't occur to you, and I guess I'm trying to map on there are other groups as well that are feeling excluded. And I think what I was trying to get at is that I think you're providing the bait that is making those groups, let's say, feel more disconnected.
I would
way. Yeah. Like for example, I'm specifically talking I saw some comment about it basically came off as anti-religious or something, and I'm like, to some extent, I'm like, I can't view that as anything else but slight hate.
So there's two things, right? If you're talking about how to manipulate a crowd, which it sounds like you are, then I certainly, because you talk about bait, and you said something that was sort of public opinion or whatever, right?
No.
If you're talking about how to get a lot of people on your side, you would placate people, and it's why politicians go up and talk about how much, they love Christ or the Bible or going to temple or whatever. Religion's really important to me. It's like, motherfucker, you ain't in politics at the level you're in politics if religion's actually important to you. Let's get that clear right off the goddamn bat, because you can't do that and maintain your morals. It's been proven for the vast majority of these people.
Maybe.
But regardless, though, I think that I don't do that. I think religion is dangerous. I think there was a time for it.
Even just saying that, though, saying, hey, I think religious is dangerous.
Yes.
How are you, just to rehorn my thesis, and I'm saying, just like at least I perceive that the evangelicals did that to, let's just straight up say, the LGBT.
They do it all
kind
the
of-
time, but
kind
sure.
of stuff. But especially, I feel like that was the narrative in the late 90s, early 2000s. I feel like that, I just can't help to think that that was true.
What was true?
The evangelical stories and things you saw in, at least in media, to me, I think provided bait that empowered a lot of narratives around LGBT acceptance. And I was saying, I think some of the narratives that the counterculture, aka some, for example, even some of your rhetoric is empowering, for example, what I would call like it depends, but it's pro-Trump, pro-Christian type of ideas.
It does, but it kind of goes back to my views on America. I would rather see America fail, but maintain its hold on its ideals than compromise the ideals just so we could survive, right? So you're not wrong. If I wanted to win the popular vote, if I wanted more people watching my stream, I know what to say to make people not feel less comfortable. But I choose instead radical honesty because that's how I've always lived my life. And so for me, when I say I think religion is dangerous, I also say it was important for a long time. I understand how chaotic and scary life is.
But why should people who disagree with you not come at you 20 times harder than you're coming at them? Like, honestly, like, why should someone not fucking destroy? Like, effectively, your position is outnumbered a lot.
Yeah. So what?
It's not outnumbered a little. It's outnumbered a lot.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, like, why do you want to project that bait?
Because I don't look at it as bait. I look at it as expressing myself, right? I feel genuinely that religion is now, and again, I also can say that with a great deal of sympathy because being an agnostic, it would be great to actually believe to some extent. I think some of it sounds like a nightmare, but to some extent to go, I'm going to be reunited with my loved ones. If I just do the right thing, there's a God waiting for me who's going to love me and take care of me. And all this will eventually make sense. I get it. But I can't live my life that way because I personally feel that is a joke. And I personally feel that there are too many places where you can track where those ideas came from and how those ideas benefit.
No. By the way, I'm not saying to believe or
anything. No, I know, but you're saying, why do I say it? Because there could be all these people that come back at me 20-fold. Well, and I'm like, because that's what I feel. And why Alexa, stop. Why would I have an internet show, small as it is?
No. I'm not saying to just, of course, communicating your honest ideas. I totally support.
So then why are you asking me the question then? I mean, that's why. That's
okay,
my
so for example, I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. People in the North, religious people, a lot of times in, for example, the Northeast feel like they're excluded from their religious practices. So, for example,
the Northeast of America, like Vermont?
Say Massachusetts. So let me explain, right? I don't think I just think maybe you're not familiar with this perspective, right?
No, I'm not, I want to just make sure you're talking about America.
American accent, right? You can tell.
Well, I know you're from America, but I've never heard people like in Vermont going, I sure wish we couldn't go to church.
Well, no, hear me out, right? So maybe I'm talking about minority, like effectively not the whole thing, but for example, there's pockets in the Northeast Massachusetts where Massachusetts is big on emphasizing separation of basically, hey, you can't bring anything religious into public settings.
They're not. Are they big on it, or are they simply following the Constitution?
It's regardless, it is emphasized there, right?
As it should be, but continue. Yes.
There's real arguments to be discussed there, right? Traditionally, that isn't actually, one of the cases, right? Well,
traditionally, we are a country that is founded on the Constitution. Are you talking about that not being the most traditional thing you can have?
Okay, so just as a basic idea, right? This kind of reminds me of some of the corporate stuff, right?
The what? The what?
Like corporate stuff, right? Whatever. I can explain it. It's like for example, public schools do not go back so far in the U.S. And if you have something that takes up 95% of your time, and you institute, hey, you have to behave this certain way, effectively you're excluding people's practices, right? So if you say,
You mean school from
schools.
X to 18 years
Yeah,
old
so-
if
so
you
for-
go to school. Okay.
exactly. So all of a sudden it's like, hey, we're going to create a de facto monopoly on public schooling. And then in schooling, we're going to be very like realistically antagonistic to anyone participating in religion. So a lot of places nowadays, let me explain. So
I
nowadays,
am letting you explain, but I can't affect what my face does. I'm responding to what you just said.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I feel like when I see your face, I feel like I'm losing you. So I'm just trying to correct
Well,
it.
you are, but I mean, keep going. I mean, I can
enough.
turn off my camera.
No. Fair enough. I'm not trying to, again, dude, I'm not trying to attack your reaction.
I'm not trying to attack your reaction. I'm just trying
Let
to
me just progress. It's fine.
I'm trying to get entertainment out of the call. That's part of the job too.
Okay. That's true. It is entertainment.
Yep,
We
keep
could talk
going.
about video games. You want to talk about video games?
Nobody watches when I talk about video games. Keep going.
Dude, I fucking love video games though.
I love video games too. I'm playing a shit ton of them right now. Keep going. Don't lose your train of
The
thought.
new God of War sucks. Okay, so I'll move on. So but the old one's good. Okay. So yeah, so for example, in the Northeast, I know this is a de facto true thing, right? You could not start a Christian after school club in my local high school in the Northeast.
Okay, let's be specific here. It was after school and they were not allowed to use a public building, or was
Yeah,
it
so-
affiliated with the school?
So think about public school clubs after school. You start your clubs, for example, you have your Habitat for Humanity clubs, your bowling clubs, your Gay Straight Alliance, etc. So, for example, I know that basically the Christian Fellowship Associate CFA was not allowed to practice in my local high school. Right? This is a
During school hours or afterwards?
it actually wanted to be before school.
Yeah, I mean, again, legally, I don't know what to tell you. We had like Christian fellowship clubs in our school in Alabama.
100%. I am very aware that, for example, in the South,
Right, but let's take your
100%.
state. I as long as it's fairly expressed, I don't have a problem if the building is being used for some kind of religious thing after school hours when it's not
100%.
affecting school. But if you're basically saying that the school is having a club that is religious based, I don't personally have a problem with that, but I can understand how maybe legally speaking that is a little iffy. But anyway, continue.
Okay, so for example, certain parts of the U.S. allow that, some don't, or
Okay.
at least historically, 10 years ago, right? So that combined with, hey, there's also the element that the school, for example, has a monopolistic time where historically they didn't, right? Public schooling is I don't know, but somewhere 20th century most likely, right? Whatever, who cares? Something
Yeah,
like
well, Industrial Revolution, but yeah, okay.
some
Keep
shit,
going.
okay, something like that. So it's like, for example, if I were to take all your time away, and I have a
Maybe,
problem with it.
maybe if you would have been learning in school and not listening to like religious things, you would know when that happened. But continue,
I'm not,
please.
who even said I'm religious? I never even said
Keep
I'm religious.
going. Keep going.
Fuck, dude. Like I was playing video games. It's fucking.
I'm
your-
joking.
it's
Keep
fucking-
going.
dude, it's fucking your fault because I
Mhm.
play too much of your shitty fucking video games that got me fucking.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Keep going.
Thank you, though. Thank you.
Keep going.
Okay. It's just a fucking monopoly. Like, all I'm saying is, like, if something takes all your time and then you say you have to behave a certain way because it's in the fucking public sphere, that's basically taking people's options away for, like, how they freely act and freely associate. True?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a nation of laws, right? You also can't.
come on. Like, if I say, like, hey, 95% of your time in practice is owned by the de facto school system. It's owned by the de facto big company Inc. And then at big company Inc., you can't say anything religious at your school, public school Inc., big public school. You can't say anything religious. You're left with 2% of your time you can actually live freely. And, apply this to whatever the fuck thing you want. If it's religion, it's religion. But shouldn't you be able to be who the fuck you want? 98% of the time and 2% of the time you need to shut up.
Okay, well, how would that manifest? How, if you are a really religious person and you go to a public school in the Northeast of America, what are you not being able to do between the hours of 8 and 3 that you think needs to happen so you could live free?
Well, I wasn't saying the fix, right? So there's the idea.
No, but define what you're saying though.
Well, So, for example,
By the way, hang on. PK says, why are you talking to the same guy for 2 hours? Because he's the only guy who called in. Call in and I'll talk to you too, bitch.
if we want, I can change the subject.
No, I'm interested. Look, the audience is holding. I'm interested.
Jaffe, do you have dreams about the future?
Yeah, but I don't want to change the subject.
Psychic. Okay, cool. Okay. I was just saying there are. Okay.
Keep going, but
So,
explain
Jaffe,
to me.
you do have psychic visions. Okay.
I do.
So,
but
wait,
I had one
really?
this weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I had
Wait,
one this
really?
weekend. It was fascinating.
Wait. Oh.
Let's finish one topic at a time, sir.
Okay.
And I'll get Invader. Thank you for the super chat. He says, great to catch a live show again. I hope everyone had a decent holiday. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for your support. And I had a great holiday. I hope you did as well. And it's nice to see you again. Nice to have you back. So what I'm saying though, about what you're saying is, what is it if you're a super religious guy that
I never
you
said
don't
I
get?
won't, but
I
if-
know.
I understand. I understand. Hypotheticals are hard.
If you're a super religious guy in this scenario,
It's,
what do you think you're not allowed to do between 8 and 3 o'clock that you feel that you should do if you had total freedom?
in a corporate setting or in a.
We'll just
we're
take
talking
school
about-
because we're talking about school at first. So go with school.
Well, for example, you can't like in practice from 8 to 3, a kid in school, they're not going to be talking about God or something. It's not going to come up. It's going to.
It's not. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's not going to come up? It's not going to come up in class, or it's not going to come up in the lunchroom.
It's just 90. It communicates that 95% of the time, the real world, the regular world, is secular. That's the underlying message. 95%.
Okay, but just so I'm clear, you're not. I want to make sure I
world-
understand. You're not saying that the kid is not allowed to have a discussion about Jesus Christ while sitting with his friends at lunch. You're saying it won't come up in the course of the lesson plans as a religious lesson.
No, I'm just saying it won't come up at all. It's like this isn't real life. This
Yeah, but
isn't
those are two different things, though. Those are two.
Well,
important things.
I'm not.
Because
Okay,
one
so I guess
suggests
I'm
you're
not
talking
saying
about
that.
a world where they can't express themselves in their free time, and the other is talking about a world where there is not a division.
It's
between
just saying
church and
this
state.
isn't reality. This isn't part of reality, right? It's like from a world viewpoint. I'm not saying that teaching lessons. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, there's an implicit message there, and if the implicit is not stated, I'm just trying to say the implicit explicitly. The implicit is said for 9 hours a day, or eight, whatever. Fuck, I don't know how long school is anymore. But
8 to 3.
for the 8 hours,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so for 8 hours a day, it's saying, hey, reality for 8 hours a day. It's this thing. It's not religious. Religion isn't actually. That's not actually in this reality.
Okay. All right. So what's your point? I mean, you're right when it comes to what the lessons plan should be. They should not be.
Well, what if you think that's real? You would think that for 8 hours a day, you could include reality in there. It presupposes what reality is.
Well, yes, but that's what education does. Someone's got to make the curriculum.
Well, that's the exclusion that people think, right? It's like you have communities. Like take for example, like for example, the South, you have like pretty damn good church membership, right? And it's like, okay, you're going to really go in there and federally mandate that for 8 hours a day, people of communities of people who don't believe it, this is how they have to act and behave for 8 hours a day. So for example, if I went to any other country, if I go to freaking Saudi Arabia or something and I say, hey, guess what? For 95% of your day, you cannot do any of this shit anymore. Of course, they would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I know, but we're talking about America, which has a clear division between.
I was comparing the South to Saudi Arabia. I was saying,
I'm starting to lose your thread, baby. I don't know what you're trying to get to anymore. I really don't.
Okay.
Here's what I think. I think religion should not be taught in schools unless you're teaching it. Unless you're teaching it historically, unless you're like, hey, this is sort of what some people think, and this, that, and the other. And I also think
you're not seeing the exclusion in that, dude. You're not seeing the exclusion in.
I don't care. I didn't get to learn about Steven Spielberg and the theories of Back to the Future when I was in school because it wasn't the curriculum.
Man. You have this site, and I'm going to get more anime just to be, a little bit more exciting, maybe. But like, you have a monopoly on what you think reality is. And the thing is, people disagree the fuck with you, right? The reality is other people don't fucking agree with you.
The majority of the country does not want religion in their public schools. That is a fact. That is a.
You're saying it's a fact. How do you know this?
I'll show you. Would you like to see the polls?
What are you going to point to? Some shitty fucking
I'll
CNN
point to.
article?
I'll point. Well, give
But
me.
you're going to point to some fucking mainstream source that
Um,
99% of the country fucking has rejected. This is
Hang
literally a theme. This is a theme, dude.
Hang on. Okay.
But you're seriously saying you can see the future in your dreams. You literally have psychic.
You're
vision.
changing the subject, aren't you?
But you believe that.
Well, I don't know if it's really the future.
No, I actually think this happens for some people.
But you're
I
now.
agree
I
with
gotta
you.
let you go though, because you started out sounding like you had a foot in reality. Now I'm
No.
kinda
I acknowledge that what I'm saying recently and the last couple of moments are more offbeat. 100%.
Okay, I'm not looking for that. I would like to continue in.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. At one point, you said we got to be more entertaining. I'll leave.
I have to be. That. Let me worry about that.
You
If you're
are the
not-
entertainment.
If
You
you're
are
not
the-
entertaining, I'll let you go. That's
Okay, you are the
that.
star of the show. I apologize.
I don't care about that. I just care about let me worry about the fact that are we starting to bore people? If we
Okay.
are, because I'm looking at the numbers, we'll move on.
Okay, you're right.
Um,
You're right.
right.
You're right.
So all I'm saying though is we have a constitution, and if the people want religion taught in schools, they should absolutely vote for that and vote
And
for
be
the states
represented by who?
to
The federal
well,
government or their local municipalities?
local, because you need
Oh, okay.
2/3. You need 2/3 of the states to change the federal constitution.
No,
and
no,
so-
but you. Sorry, go on. I don't want to.
Well, states' rights. There's a reason we have a federal government. We have local government.
Yeah.
Unless you just want to become your own country and call that Texas, which is fine.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we have a federal government, and the federal government is controlled by the state governments in terms that we can change the Constitution.
Okay.
So let's do that.
I think I said enough about the idea of the, religion, schools, monopoly.
Yeah, but you
of time.
really didn't, because you really
No.
didn't.
I'm not saying I proved the point to you. Like I think I got to where I will get with you on that.
Well, yeah, but you didn't really say anything. All you're trying to get me to, you got me to the place of going, yes, are there people that are super religious that go to public schools and they don't feel that they get to talk about Jesus or Yahweh or Muhammad all day long in those schools, or even 5 minutes in those schools?
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, why would they get to talk about that when there's 1,000 other things excluded? What I guess you have to go back to, what is the purpose of school?
Yeah.
Is the purpose to churn out workers for capitalism? Is the purpose to churn out good humans? I don't.
So you think my intent isn't to convince you here. So it sounds like you're looking for a
Mission
convincing-
accomplished.
Well, fuck, dude.
I'm just saying you haven't said anything convincing.
Dude, it hurts. It fucking
I know,
hurts.
it's
Okay,
not meant to hurt.
so
All right, I am going to let you go. It's getting late. What I will tell you about the future, though, is no. Over the weekend, I had a.
it happens, dude. You
It might.
can see
I'm-
you can see the fucking future in your dreams.
Oh,
It happens.
great! I'm not opposed to that idea. I think.
No, you're claiming it.
I'm not claiming it.
I thought
said
you claimed it. Sorry.
no. I do believe. I mean, I'm aware of. I think they call it block theory, but I am aware of the
What's
theoretical.
What is block?
It's the theoretical quantum physics idea that time, the best way to actually view time, is not linear, but view it like it's on a stage, and the past is happening on the left side of the stage, the present is in the middle, and the future's on the right.
But do
And
you
the
experience-
spotlight? Hang on, and the spotlight for humans, the way we perceive time, is shining on the center of the stage, but it doesn't mean that what's on the left of the stage and the right of the stage isn't always also there happening at the same quote time, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel that I have had enough experiences in my life that if it turned out in 5,000 years or 1,000,000 years, we were able to discover that there was a lot of accuracy in that, I'd go, yeah, that kind of tracks. So over the weekend, what I said was I was feeling terribly nostalgic for some reason for 1985. And I don't know why. And then I started thinking, and I did a tweet on
There's
this.
songs about 1985.
Well, no, I mean, 1985 was probably one of the best.
Stacey, you know that song, Bowling for.
I know Bowling for Soup. I got it.
That's what you're talking about, right?
No, it's not.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my bad.
Well, I'm honest with my audience. I'm not doing a bit. I'm telling you the truth.
Sorry.
And so I think probably what it was, if it was anything other than just garden variety nostalgia, was me when I was 14 in 1985. It's very on brand for me. I probably was trying to communicate with myself in the future. And it wouldn't surprise me if sometimes that's what real hardcore nostalgia is like there's a line there, there's a connection there, and you can actually understand it in that case. But that's just me theorizing. I don't have any evidence of that. But I can't tell you I can.
So you had a full what's his name? The guy who wrote Cthulhu. Why is that not coming to my mind?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah, you have full Lovecraftian moment where you're like talking to yourself in the past and your past self.
Is that Lovecraft? I thought he was more about like
no. He totally
gods and stuff.
He he has totally. I forgot the story, but he, literally seeing yourself in your past self in your dreams and.
Yeah, I my mind is open. That's another reason I think religion is stupid and dangerous.
Wait, but dude, that's like religion adjacent.
It's not. I'm agnostic. The only real thing you should teach people is to embrace what they really are, which is agnostic. None of us know what's going on. None of us know what this is. We can't even see everything. We can't hear everything. We can't smell everything. We are absolutely living.
You sound like you're getting all quasi spiritual here.
I'm basically saying we don't know what's happening. We could be brains in jars. We could be a simulation. We could be a really crazy accident. We could have been put here by aliens or a creator like God character. But as soon as we all get to the point where we say, you know what, this is scary. It's chaotic. It's really sad when bad shit happens, and bad shit happens a lot. But also great things happen too. And let's just all be together in the shit. We don't know what the fuck this is.
You almost sound like you have like Gnostic, some like Gnostic style qualities, right? Like you're saying like, oh, dreams and kind of seeing like it's not like, for example, if I were to predict, I would say like, oh, you talk about symbols. Do you talk about symbols? Like, hey, symbolism. Really. No. Oh, okay. I thought you were agnostic.
I don't mind being not. I mean, Gnostic. What means you?
No, not agnostic, but like Gnostic. Like
no, Gnostic means God, right? You believe in some kind of.
The Gnostics, they have like weird beliefs about like dreams and symbols.
Yeah, I don't. I am agnostic.
Push that thought higher. I'll just.
Yeah, I'm agnostic on all of it. I have no idea what's going on. I don't think anyone else has any idea what's going on. I think the best course of action is to embrace that and start from there with everything we do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I totally understand that. Like like a lot of that other stuff we're talking about, like what religion people can practice, etc. Now you're saying like, hey, what beliefs and open to I don't know what's going on, etc. Like 100%, I get it.
Yeah, I'd rather a teacher just say you just say, hey, a lot of people believe in religion. Here's all this stuff going on about that. Believe it, don't believe it, but here's what we can definitively say based on just evidence, not what you feel. What you feel isn't not necessarily less or more valid, but what we can prove is there's a lot of stuff we don't know right now. So,
what's the difference between evidence and what you believe?
Everything. Evidence.
I know, but the point is, to elaborate, right?
Well, I mean, what you believe is basically it's a belief based on faith, right? It's you can believe in something, but you have no evidence of it. If you know something. And even that, you can't really know anything. But based on our shared world, if you know something, it's because it's repeatable and you have evidence of it. So,
yeah.
Brad Skaggs says the Christian test is to not know but believe anyway. Yeah, that sounds like great brainwashing to me. Just trust us is what that's another.
I just think I don't want to be one of those hippie lovey-dovey guys. Like practice love and open mind. Whatever.
What's wrong with being a hippy-dippy loving guy? Beats being an asshole, doesn't it?
Well, I was trying to preach that a little bit, I guess, like to some extent, like, it sounds like it's like, hey, I don't, these people believe stupid shit. That's kind of, I feel like your message. You're saying these people believe stupid shit. I don't believe it. I believe something else. These people are wrong. They're not allowed to. They're not allowed to practice this. They can't think of it. The school's going to work the way I want it to be.
I never said they're not allowed. I would be very upset if people were not allowed to practice their stupid shit. They have a right to it,
but not during work hours.
Well, it depends on the office. Yeah, I don't think that's
not during school hours.
Do you get to go to school and watch a movie? I liked watching movies a lot growing up. Why couldn't I do that?
But why? Okay, so how is what about the negative space, dude? The negative space, the omissions. If there's an omission, negative space is real, right? you're not considering.
Yeah, and that's
negative
why you
space.
have a curriculum. And whether look, I don't agree with all the school curriculum either. I think
Yeah.
it's a waste of time that people are not learning critical thinking and not learning economics and not spending
Yeah.
more time in civics, but they are learning shit. You know, some students should be learning algebra 2, but not all of them, not most of them,
Wait, why should students be learning algebra 2?
because the amount of math, yes, maybe in basic algebra, yes, but once you get past that, I think their time, if you want to raise functioning adults, would be much better in critical thought classes, philosophy classes.
But those
economic
classes are for fucking. Okay, so sorry. Okay, I shouldn't be
civics
this
classes.
public. I should be more nice. Those classes are not, I think, for the smart kids. I think
in
those classes.
in your case, English classes, because it would be nicer, not more nice. But anyway, keep going.
I don't subscribe to that. Like I like talking more.
It's not a
blunt-
subscription service. It's
I
called
like-
the English language. You don't subscribe to it. It's not Netflix.
Dude, words mean. Okay,
Is this Seth Rogen? All right, I got to let you go, buddy. Hey, it was fun talking to you, Mr. Loser.
yeah. Thank you for the invite on the show, Mr.
Anytime.
David
Call back
Jaffe.
later.
I,
Call back later, buddy. We'll see you soon.
One day we'll talk about dreams.
Sounds good. All right. See you, dude. Bye. And see, look, man, I mean, that's the nice thing is you can talk to anybody about anything, right? You don't have to agree with everything. Paulie D, thank you for the super chat. He says, Jaffe will be the owner of the LCU soon. All love. Well, I don't know about that. We're exploring. We had a quick conversation with Keemstar this afternoon or this morning. I have some people looking into it based on some things he told us. You never know. You never know. I don't want religion in my government and school, says Ashoka Tana. Me neither. Me neither. I'm with you 100%, buddy. All right. Well, listen, let me remind you guys that we are going over at 7:45 tonight on our Discord. We'll be watching Evil Dead 3. And Anna G, I think it was you that mentioned that Netflix special or Netflix show that had what's it called? The anime horror. If those are short enough, we might show one of those as well. So otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow at 9:00 in the morning over on Lolcow Crypt on YouTube, over on the LCU. And then I will be back tomorrow on this show at 5:00. Do I support teachers bringing rainbow flags into their classroom? I need some more specifics. When you say rainbow flags, I mean, I assume what you're saying is LGBT pride or something like that. Probably not. I mean, I don't have a problem with it personally, but I do think that if you're going to have that, you probably want to, you're probably going to want, Wings can call in any time, Croduck. He doesn't need to invite. I don't need to invite Wings. Are you kidding me? Whenever he wants. But I think if you are going to be putting it up there as a way of saying, well, I guess the question is, what are you communicating, right? Like I, of course, am a supporter of LGBT. I'm a supporter of Pride Month. I have no problem with straights, gays, asexual people teaching my kids. But I think when you bring a flag in like that and you're the teacher, now students should be able to, if they want to express themselves with t-shirts and all that stuff, but I'm not entirely sure the content or the concept of what the teacher is teaching. Are they teaching about, I guess I would need more information because it would really depend, on what it's there for. Do you remember when you made fun of a poor kid whose dad passed away and they used to play games together? I do, but I didn't really make fun of a poor kid whose dad passed away. Are you talking about the guy with the grave and the Xbox thing that people totally got the wrong way? I made fun of an Xbox ad campaign and the fact that he had put an Xbox controller on his dad's freshly dug and filled in grave. And I thought it was funny at a Xbox ad standpoint. But I never made fun of a kid for losing, or an adult or anyone for losing their father. That you'd have to be a more, it sticks. I was going to say you have to be a moron to think that's what I was saying. And then I saw that it was from Stick Solid, who also, by the way, fell for the oldest bit. Tech and I were streaming yesterday, and Stick Solid was being his usual dickish self. And I was just bored of the whole thing. And I'm just like, I want to go play Hightail. And and I actually have the text, and I posted them on the locale Discord. Just to prove I'm not making this up after the fact. And I'm just like, hey, let's fuck with Stick Solid and act like we're fighting. And you're the conservative guy and this, that, and the other. And he bought the whole fucking thing, man. It was so on brand for him. He's such a moron. He's such a fucking moron. Anyway. All right, my friends, listen, what a joyous time to spend some time and hang out and talk. I hope to see you this evening, over in the Discord. We'll watch Evil Dead 3. Never seen it before. Got to go make some popcorn now. Thanks for the support, you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. See ya.